How are we all doing? Just move my mic a second. Tough to take that one, wasn't it? Bear with. Yeah, somewhat tough to take, I found that. We had our chances, didn't we? Two Mehmeti chances in the second half to win the game. Just didn't happen. Missed a one-on-one, and then right at the death, their goalkeeper, Iverson, magnificent save. Mehmeti could have done better with his finish, and a lot of people saying that on Twitter. But at the same time, I think you got to credit the work that Mehmeti did to lead up to the chance as well. He plucked the ball out of the air. He then beat a man in the box, and then just missed the chance. But it wasn't the save. I won't be able to show it on stream, but I'll put a link to the tweet of the video. But the save that was made was outrageous. I'll talk through the games. I got my phone again. I made some notes about the first half and so on. Just move stuff around. See that? There we go. I don't think, to be honest, the keeper sort of just flung himself at it, sort of made himself big, put himself in the right shape, and he got his hand on the ball. Like, I don't think he necessarily reacted to it in a way. I think it was more his body shape. So yeah, I'll run through the notes I got from the game. So things started pretty scrappy by what I've got written down here. I think for the first 2 or 3 minutes, things were quite scrappy. I noticed in the second minute, Twine had a good chance to poke Mehmeti in behind. It just hit one of their defenders. In the third minute, there was a long ball in behind to Reese, where he jumped up and challenged Iverson in the air. I saw on Twitter there were a few shouts for a penalty for that one. For me, I watched it a couple of times. I just don't think there's anything in that. I think we'd be very fortunate to get a penalty for that one. They also did the same, so they had a long ball, good ball out wide, and then Osmajic went down looking for a pen. There was nothing in it. It was ridiculous for him to look for it. I noticed that just during the early stages of the first half, Preston couldn't really get a handle on the game. They couldn't get any control because as soon as they got the ball back from us, they were just looking long every time. What else did we have there? We had a great ball into Mehmeti. I think it was Viner that played him in. Viner was sensational today, by the way, I thought. We had a great ball into Mehmeti. He received the ball I'm going to use this pitch as a direction. He received the ball here, ran towards the box, so covered sort of 20, 30 yards, took a low shot to the keeper's left, his right. The keeper just tipped it wide. A couple of really good saves from Iverson in that game. That was a solid save. McCrory got himself in behind in the 18th minute. It was a poor cross to Mehmeti. I thought he could have made a little bit more than that, to be honest with you. And then in the 20th minute, our first scare. So Preston didn't really create that much, but I think it came from one of our corners. They had a 3v1 counter-attack. Probably remember it if you watched the game. Osmajic was the final man in the attack. He just took a heavy touch, which led it into Vitek claiming it. But if Osmajic didn't take a heavy touch, I think he would have finished that one. We had a Vitek double save in the 26th minute as well. A couple of shots from the left side of his box. So one of them he had to get low to save at his near post. He picked himself back up and saved it fairly high. It was a good, solid double save. I noticed as well Mehmeti getting really stuck in this game. He was getting a little bit shirty and mouthy with the Preston players, which I actually quite liked. We had a Preston injury, so Valentin went off for Ofia, I think his name was, in the 34th minute. In the 35th minute, we had another Mehmeti run, sort of from a similar position to the first one I described. And then a Preston player, Whiteman, I think it was, took him out for a yellow. And then we had a 25 yards out free kick for Twine. He got it up and over the wall, but it just hit the keeper, unfortunately. He had a couple of free kicks in this game. I noticed as well that on the right-hand side, Sykes was getting in the midfield quite a bit. So he was sort of playing in the number 6 position when we had the ball, a bit more further advanced than Knight. And that was allowing Viner to get forward, which I thought was quite interesting. So yeah, it was quite nice to see them used tactically like that. It might have been why Sykes started the game. I think there was a little bit of questioning as to why we didn't play Neto Borges at left wing back today. And I think there may have been something tactical in that McCrory is good enough at left wing back. And then Sykes, he dipped into midfield today, which I think was quite good. He was obviously told to do that as well. That basically wraps up the first half. Second half, we had a good start to the half. I felt sort of 40, well, in the sort of 50th minute, we were really putting pressure on them. And then in the 58th minute, Mehmeti got in behind for a one-on-one on the right-hand side of Iverson's box. Was it the right-hand side? Yeah, right-hand side. He was running in and then just, it was frustrating. He just tipped it. He just shot low, tried to take it past the keeper, like wide of the keeper, and it just went wide of the goal, unfortunately. I didn't describe that very well. He took a low shot to the far back post, basically, and it just went wide. And then straight after that, Osmajic had a chance in the box. It looked to be a better chance. Well, it wasn't a better chance than Mehmeti's, but I was more scared of it going in, to be honest, but that didn't go in. And then we saw the game it really dropped in quality from the 60th minute right till the end, until, of course, the long ball came in over the top from Mehmeti. I think it must have been Story that missed the header. Mehmeti snuck in behind him, took the ball down really well, got past Gibson in the box, shot across to the back post, and then Iverson just flung his hand at it. I can't really replicate what he did. Made the save to keep them in the game. So I described there probably a couple of Preston chances, but on the whole, we absolutely dominated that game. It looked way better, in my opinion. Should have won the game. So yeah, had it been for Mehmeti taking those couple of chances, we would have won the game. On the flip side, though, I think the couple of chances that Mehmeti had, you got to give Mehmeti credit for getting those chances, right? I know he didn't finish them, but I still thought he had a decent game. People will probably slate him on social media for the missed chances, but the second chance, he created the ball in, fair enough, but he did a lot of work in the box to fashion that shot. And then for the first one, it was a great run to get him behind for the one-on-one. And I don't think both efforts were too bad. Like the first one-on-one was a yard wide, and the second one-on-one was only stopped by a really good save. So that's the game. There was one talking point in the game, though, that really worries me, and that's Jason Knight. So it sounds like he's picked up a groin problem. I thought it was just cramp during the game, but I think it's a groin problem. I've heard that he's going for a scan. For me, I think he's probably out until after the international break. There's 2 more games in the Championship, and then it's the international break. So I think he misses the next 2, which is a real worry at the moment for Bristol City, because we didn't have anyone on the bench to cover for any of the midfielders today. Randall and Knight both needed to play 90, and obviously that didn't happen. So Viner had to step into midfield. Obviously, we've got Ipswich on Tuesday. That's probably going to have to be Viner in the midfield, isn't it? I mean, look at the bench. On the bench, we had Joe Lumley, Hayden Roberts, Borges, Cornick, Mayulu, Pekova, Tanner, Armstrong, you. Who's coming into the midfield off that bench? Obviously, we've got Williams in Bird out with injuries at the moment. So you're going to have to put Viner in there, I guess, and play George Tanner right centre-back, I'd assume. So that's going to happen on Tuesday. Game as a whole, thought Vitek had a fairly solid game. He was very solid. He didn't necessarily have his like highlight reel saves today, but he did have a really solid game of shot stopping and cross collection. I thought Viner was our best defender this game. I thought he was, to be honest, all 3 defenders were mega this game. I thought Viner was, for me, the standout. I thought Dickey did a really solid job on Osmajic today. I thought Dickey was really good. And Atkinson, I was so pleased to see him in the lineup. I thought Atkinson was really good as well. Sykes, he had a decent game. He played the full 90 at wing back. So both of our wing backs played the full 90 today, by the way. But I thought Sykes had a decent game today. Moving into midfield as he was in the first half, I thought he was decent. I don't think he had an amazing game, but I thought he was decent. Knight and Randall just did a normal sort of 7 out of 10 Knight and Randall performance, really. Sort of just were the metronomes of the team. I didn't really see anything outstanding from the 2 of them, but they just are what they are, aren't they? Ever reliable midfielders, apart from in the 85th minute when Jason Knight came off with his injury. And that really worries me, that injury. And I think, we don't know if it's the cause of it, but I think it's preventable. I personally think it could have been prevented. Like, we'll see what happens, I guess, when the scan comes out. But he's played 90 minutes in every game so far this season, including 2 appearances for the Republic of Ireland during the international break, where at times, we've subbed off Randall for Bird. Surely in some of those occasions, Jason Knight could have got a little bit of a rest. You get kind of groin overstretching and issues, not necessarily related to fatigue, but, that's just something that's been on my mind. Could we have subbed Jason Knight in a couple of games, instead of Randall. I think we probably could have done. Just my opinion. Both of them were really solid. I thought McCrory had a good game. One thing I appreciated about McCrory in this game is getting down the left-hand side and then whipping in across with his right foot is actually really quite dangerous. So he got that in a couple of times. There were a couple of dangerous balls that he put in. He's good in the air as well. He had a couple of, I think, headed opportunities, one from a corner, one from open play. He had a good game, did McCrory. Twine, I don't know. He was decent. A couple of free kicks, I guess. If one of those went in, it'd be a different story. But yeah, I don't know about Twine. He was all right today. He was all right. Not his best game. He was all right. Mehmeti, I thought, it's just the missed chances. Everything was good about Mehmeti's game today. He was our best attacking player, bar the 2 chances. If he took them, that would have been a sort of almost 10 out of 10 performance, I think. He was really the one of the 3 that was making things tick today. I was really impressed with Mehmeti. The 2 chances, I don't think they were horrendous misses. Again, I'll go back to that first one-on-one. He wasn't too far away. I probably would have lifted it over the keeper if it was me, but I'm not a pro footballer. I wouldn't be able to make that decision at full speed, I don't think. And then the second one was a really good save. He maybe could have hit it low and sort of curled it into the corner along the ground, but with limited time to think. And again, he brought the ball down really well inside the box, cut inside and beat a man. He did all the work leading up to it as well, which I think deserves some credit. Emil Rees was all right today. Didn't really have a chance as such. He did what Rees does in games, really. Runs the channels really well, brought other players into play. He got a yellow card in the first half for a niggly foul. I think it was on Hughes that Hughes was clearing the ball from the touchline round here on the pitch, and Emil Rees just sort of barged him off the ball, which is quite funny. But yeah, that's what happened there. He got booed a little bit by the Preston fans, but that was it, really. That probably sums up the game in sort of 10 or 12 minutes, really. I've got some bookmark tweets that I'm going to talk through because I think it's probably worth looking at those. So this is from Bristol Delboy, who sometimes has some insider info. He's saying that the Knight groin injury could be out for a few games, maybe longer. I mean, I think if it's a groin injury, he's out till after international break. I don't think you recover from it in a week. We've got 2 games in the next week, so I think he's probably out until after the international break, but to be confirmed. We had a couple of really complimentary tweets from Preston fans. So Samantha here saying, I'll be surprised if Bristol City aren't right up there again this season. Mehmeti takes his chances and they're out of sight. And then Jack saying another thing, we'll take a point. Bristol City have been exceptional. So Preston fans agreeing that we probably should have won the game. Yeah, and Bristol Delboy again, some credit for Viner. Man of the match performance, I would agree with that. I think he was probably our best outfield player. Best player, yeah, probably our best player. And then he had to step into midfield at the end of the game, and I thought he did really well there as well. Yeah, we do have a midfield problem though. I mean, both of our covers, Bird and Williams, are injured, and Jason Knight's just picked up an injury as well. And Adam Murphy's out on loan at Swindon. I don't think he's getting minutes for them either. So I think we're going to have to be a bit creative with our midfield against Ipswich. Not the ideal team to be playing when you're short on numbers in midfield. And then Forever Bristol City, I thought, summed it up quite well. A game we should have won, but we'd have taken a point if offered. Mehmeti showing well in front of goal, except with the final touch. Should have had a couple. Viner, very impressive. I agree with that. And this is something I wanted to bring up as well. I don't think Struber trusts the bench very much. It's a classic sort of cliche saying I'm about to give you, but he bigs up his squad in press conferences and stuff, which is fair enough. And this is not a criticism of Struber, by the way. I wouldn't trust the bench really either. But people speak with their actions in terms of whether they favour players or not, right? And the fact that we've got a game on Tuesday and Struber waited until at least the 80th minute, I think it was even later, 83rd minute, to make any form of substitution. I think that suggests what he thinks of his bench options. I'm also not sure I would trust it. You could make an argument that Neto Borges comes on at left wing back, but I'll be honest with you, I think he's seeing what Borough fans said about him. I think he's better as like the left of the 3 centre halves. I think that's going to be his best position. I don't think Struber sees him as a left wing back. I don't think Yu has offered very much recently either. It's just nothing on the bench really for him to bring on. So yeah, that's probably why he doesn't trust his bench. And then the great AM on Twitter fell into a barrel of tits and came out sucking our thumbs. I think that is a fair explanation of the game. So yeah, I think that wraps up the stream. I didn't really have too much more to talk about. It's quite nice to keep a match summary within about 20 minutes, I reckon. That's what we've done. Spoken about the key moments of the game. Obviously, the Jason Knight injury, the subs. Yeah, I thought we covered things quite nicely in that one. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, please leave us a like rating, subscribe to the Robin's Nest channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone. Oh, we got some chat messages. I just missed it. Ben, my mate Ben, is a Norwich fan, by the way. I don't think the Norwich fans are too happy. I don't know if you're still here, Ben, but I don't think the Norwich fans are certainly my eye. Bear with. I take it Norwich fans are still unhappy with Liam Manning. Could McCrory play a midfield? I think it'll be Viner, mate. I think it'll be Viner, and then Tanner will go right centre back. Would be my gut feel as to how that plays out. Yeah, interesting one. Interesting one. All right, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to go and have a break because I've done about 12 hours of YouTube work today. It's been a bit insane. All right, see you in a bit.